What is going on, ladies and gents? My name's Evolution and welcome to my channel. If you're not grinning right now, then you're definitely not human, because we are on the Yamaha MT07 today. And oh my goodness, this bike is absolute madness. So before we get into today's vlog, let me give you guys some background and a bit of a story. So I've said it in my recent videos on the 125, it was only a matter of time till it happened. Now, my biggest restriction was not being old enough to sit my A2 license. For those of you who aren't aware, to do your A2 restricted, you've got to be 19 years old. So today's Sunday of recording this video. Beautiful weather, outstanding, nice and warm actually. It's 24 degrees apparently. It's probably a little bit colder than that. 2 seconds. So last Friday, not the Friday that's just gone, the Friday before that was my birthday. I turned 19 years of age. So on the Saturday and Sunday, I did training for my Module 1 and Module 2. It was 2 4-hour sessions on a Suzuki GS500. Monday was a day off if you like, and then Tuesday I sat my Mod 1. I passed my Module 1 with the clean sheet, no minors, nothing like that. At which point I then decided to take my Module 2 the following day, which was Wednesday, which is the road ride. And after 45 minutes of being terrified out on the road with an instructor, invigilator following me, I came back and he gave me a pass certificate with 2 minors, so not too shabby. I'm happy with that. So that same day I sorted everything out and I was straight out on this bike. Now I didn't want to record it just for the pure reason I wanted to get used to the bike before doing any videos. I've been riding this non-stop ever since. I was out all Wednesday, out all Thursday, out all Friday, out all Saturday. Each day I've successfully done a whole tank of fuel and about 100 miles on average each day. So 4 days, 400 miles, 4 fuel tanks. All in all, from turning 19, it took me 5 days to obtain my A2 license and get on the bike. Now, obviously it did help that I've got plenty of previous experience on a 50cc and a 125, but it just goes to show what's possible. So here we are today, probably going to be another fuel tank later. We're heading down to the wonderful Hastings seafront. There's some really nice roads out here, and with weather like this I was like, I've just got to do it, why not? For those who are wondering, as sad as it is, the Yamaha MT125, the baby brother version of this, has now been sold to a friend. So you may still see it in videos, but unfortunately there won't be any further videos on the 125cc anytime soon. All the content's going to be on the 07 from now on, so that's positive and negative in some ways, depends how you look at it. So I'm going to treat today as the first proper ride and review more than anything. Doesn't mean that this bike got any less fun. I'm still smiling just as much, and you guys should be too. So for me, comparing this to the 125, everything's changed, man. Like, it's so much better in every possible way. The brakes, you can come down from 70 as quick as you probably would come down from 40 on the 125. The acceleration, the torque is just amazing. It's a little bit heavier, but it handles just as well. Feels really nice to ride. I've not had any discomfort from riding or anything like that. It's also far more advanced in terms of electronics. I mean, the dashboard for one gives me a gear indicator, it gives me temperatures, it gives me all the information you ever need to know. And it's also got ABS as well, which isn't something I've had on previous bikes. But all in all, the bigger tyres, the bigger frame, the better brakes, the more power. You have to start on a 125 to begin with, you need that experience, but oh my goodness, the bigger bikes are so much better. So anyway, moving on to the new bike. I think the first thing for me, which was so distinctive, is the power and the noise. So I'm running a full Akrapovic exhaust system. Akrapovic, Acra, Aki, however you want to pronounce it. No baffle inserted, and it just sounds the absolute nuts. It's not a racy noise, it's not that typical motorbike inline 4. It's a 2-cylinder crossplane and it's thunderous. You've got torque readily available in any gear, whether it be first, second, third, fourth, fifth or sixth. On the motorways I normally cruise in 6th gear at about 70, but if you need to do an overtake, if you crack that throttle open, instant power, no problem. And of course in the lower gears, if you want to have a bit of fun, first, second, third, if you crack that throttle hard enough, that front wheel is coming straight off the floor. And if you're anything like me, you're kind of laughing, screaming and smiling all at the same time, because it's the most awesomest but yet scariest experience of your life when you power wheelie. Alright, let's go for a 2nd gear overtake. You got that nice pop and crackle as well on the overrun. It's not insane, but it's got character. It likes to explode in between gear shifts and everything. It's definitely not the fastest bike on the track, but the power's manageable. It's not insane like a Gixxer 1000 or R1, but there's definitely enough grunt there just to throw you back in your seat. This is insane, like having the time of my life today. So what's it like around the corners? The handling is spot on. It's agile. It does have a little bit of weight, but again, it's manageable. It's not OTT. As for filtering, it's agile. I've used it plenty of times going through traffic in town and also on the motorways. It's small enough and agile enough that you can dart in and out of lanes and cars. Brakes are spot on, and the ABS has probably saved me a few times, to say the least. It's a very weird feeling ABS. Again, I don't know whether it's just because I've never had it before, but when the wheel essentially begins to lock up, the brakes obviously disengage and re-engage at a very fast pace, and it makes this kind of grindy feel on the brake lever, which is a bit weird, but overall I feel like the brakes would be better without ABS, but it is a nice sort of comfort feature. It's a bit of a lifesaver, and it just makes the bike that little bit easier to ride. But overall I'd give it like a solid 9 out of 10. Out of all the experiences I've had on it, whether it's a short journey, long journey, slow journey, fast journey, riding on your own, riding in a pack, riding in busy traffic, riding on empty roads, so far every environment I've had no problems whatsoever. If anyone is on a CBT and they're contemplating going for the MT07 on their A2 license, I would without a doubt recommend it. There's definitely a lot of fun to be had this year on this bike. I cannot wait. I'm going to set up the sat nav, and I think I'm going to order myself a Senna 20, and I think with those two rigged together I'll pretty much be unstoppable. Obviously I've got the tour coming up in May, but I'll be able to go where I want, and I'll be able to listen to music or listen to the sat nav or take phone calls, talk to other riders, do this all at once. I'm going to be sort of in my element. I guess one question I probably avoid, and you guys like, Evo, you know, come on, 125 700cc, what's the fuel efficiency? Now it's okay. The way I see it, yes, the 125 was cheaper and it was better on fuel, but there's many more miles to be had on this. Now at the moment I'm getting, I don't know, I'd probably say about 100 miles to a tenner, thereabouts, don't quote me. But then most of these journeys I've been kind of hooning and riding in low gears, and none of this has been cruising on motorway, so you could probably get quite a bit more if you was riding economically. So right now we're riding in eco mode, and it's getting about 89 miles per gallon at the moment. But again, you don't ride like this often. This is more for motorway and big roads. Ordinarily I get about just under 50 town commute, but I think you can push it to a 60 onwards if you're riding eco, and as I said, depends what kind of journey you're going on. Well, on a side note, I have actually taken passengers on pillion on the foot pegs, and it's definitely completely different riding with a pillion in terms of being the rider. Obviously you have to adapt your acceleration, how long it takes to stop, slow speed maneuvering and cornering, because essentially you've got double the weight on the bike. But it held up really well. I don't normally carry passengers, and it's something I've quickly got adapted to, and I'm surprised, to be honest, that I've done it in such a short space of time. But riding with a pillion is very manageable and easy on this bike. From the feedback I've had from the passengers, they've said that it's relatively comfortable. There's ample seat at the back, you probably can't see it. Thankfully the footrests aren't too high up, so your knees are up here, but just like any bike, your legs do begin to get a bit achy after a long journey. Everything aside, the three main points that highlight this bike for me at the moment is the colour, the wheels, just the Night Flow colour scheme stands out. So I realise you guys haven't had an opportunity to actually see what the bike looks like yet. So here she is in the Night Flow colour. Basically the plastics are this kind of grey, I refer to kind of the Audi RS grey, if you know what they look like. Night Flow wheels, fluorescent yellow, with the odd bit of detailing, and then you've got these kind of carbon look plastic panels as well. It's completely standard apart from the crash protection that I've fitted, rear bar ends and forks, and I'm soon to get some frame sliders, hopefully. Exhaust system, as mentioned, Akrapovic, sounds absolutely insane. It's kind of their underside system, which I quite like. It's discreet. Normally you've got the other systems, you have a can or a silencer here, which looks more motorbikey and exhausty, but I don't know, it's different. It looks cool. Then as for the front, fitted the fly screen. Not that it actually does a great deal in terms of wind resistance, but I think it just looks that little bit nicer. And for sure there are going to be plenty and plenty modifications to come in the future. Want to upgrade the brake pads to maybe Brembo, or a nice set of double H EBCs, brake lines, levers, new sprocket and chain set. There's so many things which I'd like to get, but for now I'm happy, I'm content. Why change a suspension for Öhlins? Why put the quick action throttle? Why remap it? It's perfect how it is, essentially. I quickly thought I'd show you guys the dashboard. So you got your speed, your revs, engine temperature, fuel gauge, time, gear indicator. And if you go through the multifunctional display, you've got air temperature, current average mile per gallon is just under 50, which isn't far off what I said. Eco mile per gallon, that kicks in when you're in eco mode, which is a certain rev range here. Trip counters, which is pretty standard, and then obviously your mileage and such. You can adjust all the brightness, and then you've got all your indicators here: engine management light, ABS, immobilizer, high beam, full beam. Hazards is a nice little funky additional. I've not had that before. Other than that, everything's pretty standard. Kill switch, lights, and then sat nav mount for those you're wondering. Rear pillion pegs here, nice and accessible. They look fairly sleek. And your key access there is for the rear seat. So you put your key in. Rear seat hasn't really got a great deal under there. I kid you not, the only time I've used it was to carry some ice creams home. I had some Magnums, I had a big old cardboard box. Don't want the cardboard box, chuck the ice cream in there, and then ride home as quick as you can. Yeah. And that's what I love about bikers. Just pulled over here doing a quick sort of showcase of the bike. Two other bikers come over, just double checking that I'm okay, I've not broken down, give them the thumbs up, and off they blast. And the only other thing worth noting really is that I'm getting a nice set of brand new tyres, Pilot Road 4s, so I look forward to trying them out properly. And the tail tidy just cleans up that rear end, and of course no more learner plates. So that's a quick walk around, guys. I'll do a more in-depth video soon, but by all means, if you've got any questions or suggestions, feel free to pop them in the comments section. Anyway, let's fire up. Listen to that idle. first exit to Hastings A21. Cool, right, we'll take 5 minutes out and let's have a chill, get an ice cream, enjoy the weather. Peace. Well, ladies and gents, welcome to Hastings. Town centre. And there's the seafront. I don't know whether to go left or right actually. I'm a little bit... So many bikes. Yes.